Good morning, everybody. Today we're working on a driveway. We're going to just clean up all the grass out of it, pull that out, haul it away, and bring some new material in. So welcome to the channel. Stay tuned. Hope you enjoy. Today we're working on a driveway. It's a simple job. It's going to clean up all the grass along the edge, clean up all the grass in the middle. Started a little bit here. There was a little bit of grass there. There's a curb on both sides. So we're going to take all the dirt that's got the grass in it, because maybe from mowing the lawn and stuff like that, the grass started growing in. So we're going to clean this driveway up. As you can see, there's a lot of grass in it, so we're going to clean it up, and then we're going to bring in some fresh gravel and make her all look good. So this is today's job, and we'll see how we make it. Well, like I said, where I'm working on this driveway, it's not a very big driveway, but they have a lot of grass in the crushed rock, and they want it cleaned up. And there was a bit of a dip there just before the cement, so they want it freshened up. I'm using a couple of different techniques. I'm using the bucket and the blade to skim this grass material out of this driveway. I'm probably taking more than I really need to, but I want to make sure I get the soil out of the driveway so the grass doesn't grow back as quick. I chose to use the excavator versus the skid steer. I figured I'd have a bit more control in this small area. The skid would have worked. I don't know if it would have made it any simpler, but this worked out really well. I was there majority of the day, but a lot of it is trucking. So here I'm just blading out the dirt and getting rid of the grass and finding the curb. The customers didn't really know they had a curb, but we found it, and that's what we use for our line, and we get her all cleaned up and find the curb for them. So it's been 2 years since I bought this excavator, and I've done a lot of different type of work with it. And it's a great little machine. Sometimes I wish I had a bigger machine, and sometimes I don't. There's times that this is almost too big in areas that I've worked, but it will do a pile of work. Yeah, a bigger machine would do quicker. The buckets are bigger, moves a little faster and stuff like that. But this machine, I have no issues with it. There's a few things that would be nice. You're probably thinking a cab. Well, yeah, a cab would be nice when it's cold and windy, or raining, but you know what? You don't do a whole lot of work in the rain. And I can dress up to be warm, but one thing I do wish this machine had would be an angled blade. In this case here, in this driveway, I could have went down the side of the curb with the blade angled, and I could have pushed everything away from the curb instead of just rolling ahead of myself. So it would be nice to have an angled blade. And I've actually thought about building a blade that would slide on the front of this blade that would be on an angle. The only issue I'm having is how do I make it so the blade can angle both ways? So I've been thinking about it. I got a couple ideas, and I may do that at some point. It would be a neat feature. Is it necessary? Yeah, not really, but it would be pretty cool if I could do that. When you get into some of the bigger machines, they do have that option to have the 6-way blade, which would be really nice. But for me, if I had the ability to angle left and right, I think that would be sufficient. And I don't think this machine's going anywhere anytime soon, but those are one option I wouldn't mind seeing. You do see a company in Australia that makes a plexiglass cab that bolts onto this machine. I would really be interested in that, other than the fact that the shipping is ridiculous, and maybe sometime, but not at this moment. Hey, maybe if they see this video, they can reach out and give me a sponsorship. That would be awesome. All right, we got the driveway prepped. Gonna haul a load away, then we're gonna bring another load in, get her all done. All right, we got the gravel driveway prepped. So basically we took a bunch of crushed rock out. I took 3 little steps out for him and a couple of logs. The dilemma is, what do I do with it? It was a load in the truck. I didn't have any local area that I could drop it. It's crushed rock, so you know, there's a place I could have dropped it that does topsoil and stuff, but I don't think that it wanted that. So I was going to take it home, just pile it, and then if someone needed just some fill or gravel, I could have sold it for that. Anyway, a friend of mine I did some work for this week. Got a little driveway, pretty rough. The material he had for his little road has lots of big rocks, so it's hard to smoothen it out. So I thought of that, and I dropped it off to him. He'll be able to make good use of it, and I got rid of it. I still almost had to go home to do it. I had to go home to get my rake anyway, so it's not a big deal. It's a little over an hour round trip, but it is what it is. So that's the dilemma when you're doing jobs like this, and you're going to have some material that you need to get rid of. That takes time, and you got to include it in your price. So that's the way it is. I'm going to have more time in hauling the material away and getting the new load of crushed rock to put in its place than I have work in the driveway, I think. So anyway, it's all right. I've got this job scheduled for today. We're going to get her done, and it's going to look fantastic when it's complete. All right, I'm going to go get a load of crushed rock now, and we'll see you back at the job site. All right, we just left the quarry, picked up a load of 0 to 3/4 to put in the driveway to replace what we took out, and we'll get that. I might even try to tailgate it. I don't know, we'll see. This truck is finicky on the tailgating, but we'll give her a try and see how it works out and get that spread and get that job done. So that's awesome. We'll see you at the job site. Right, we're back on site. I'm going to try to tailgate this. We'll see how it works out. Let us see. Well, that didn't work out all that great. Now that I'm at the end of the driveway, I see there's a clump hard clump on the passenger side of the truck, and that didn't help me spreading it. I could have had the chains a little closer together, and I could have went a little bit faster. So I don't do a lot of tailgating. I find it's hard in the truck, and this driveway is pretty short to do it. But we got her spread somewhat, and now we'll work it with the excavator. So that's why I brought it. So as you can see, I still need practice tailgating. All right, let's get this stuff spread. looking pretty good, but the gas gauge is flashing. So I think I'm gonna have to go get some fuel. I do not want to run my machine out of fuel. I'm gonna do a little rake in here first and then head to get some fuel. Too bad I couldn't siphon some out of the truck. But it ain't gonna happen because I don't have a hose. All right, I gotta do some rake. All right, we got this driveway all done. And I lied, I didn't go get fuel. I chanced it. And I got it on the truck, so we're good. All right, I'm gonna get my leaf blower out, do a little leaf blowing, and check with the customer, see if they're good with what we've got, and then head home. Anyway, I'll give you a view from this end. Just hold on. Got to clean up there a little bit, but there's your new driveway. Well, we got everything loaded up. And we're heading home. We got the job done. The customer's happy. I swept off the road, cleaned up the edges, and we're off to the races. All right, thank you for joining in today. That was a very simple driveway repair, refresh if you want to call it. But you do with the job that come up. The customer wanted that refreshed, we refreshed it. Now, I could have brought my Harley rake and raked it up and brought the gravel back up to the surface, but I didn't believe that would help the problem. They have grass growing in their driveway, so if we would have stirred it up, all it would have done is stirred up the topsoil or the dirt that's growing the grass, and it would have came back pretty quick. I did tell the customer, you know, if you're mowing the lawn, maybe try to keep the grass clippings off and it'll help a little bit longer. But in the end, it will probably do the same thing. Maybe 3 or 4 years, 5 years. If they wanted to use some kind of weed control on it, it would keep it cleaner as well. Anyway, that's the job for this week. And like I say, thank you for joining. If you like these type of jobs, please hit that like and subscribe. And until the next video, get out there, do some work, and enjoy yourselves. Later, and stay safe.